How's it going, everyone? My name is True Wonder Dog, and it looks like Scorpion got plenty of buffs in the recent update. So if you're a Scorpion fan, then rejoice because he's that much better. However, if you're a player who's tired of fighting him online, well, I doubt he's going away. So without any further ado, let's break down all of his changes step by step. So for starters, the Gut Slice now has a different reaction on hit. It leaves the opponent a lot closer, and this means two things. First up, universally, even if you land this first hit at max range, that second hit is now guaranteed to land. So in theory, that follow-up kick should never miss, and that shouldn't be a fear anymore if you're a Scorpion player. However, in Variation 3, this buff is actually a very big deal because Suka Poke out of Misery Blade no longer misses, and it's plus 12, and you're at the perfect distance for forward 3. So if you enjoy playing Variation 3, you no longer have to worry about Suka Poke missing, which means you're at plus 12 on hit all the time. And what's nice about Suka Poke is that it's also safe at only -4, which is actually 1 frame safer than the regular string. And if you do Suka Poke enough times on block, the opponent's going to be expecting that safe ender, and then you go, nah, I'm going for a low, or you go, nah, I'm going for the overhead. So Suka Poke is now better on block, and especially better on hit thanks to this change. And this next change has me a bit scary, so Flip Kick is now 5 frames faster. It's 22 frames, which I would argue is almost unreactable. I mean, feel free to test it, go into training mode and have the AI switch between sweep and overhead, and just see if you can block this Flip Kick on reaction. I feel like 22 frames is almost unseeable. Now the good news is, to kind of balance this out, it's not as good on hit. It has 5 more recovery frames, so it's only 39 now. I mean, only 39. Still ridiculously good, especially in the corner, but at least they did take away something when they gave it something. The Flip Kick's a bit better, but it's also a bit worse. And in case you're wondering why Flip Kick is faster now, it's because they decided to make this his armor break move. So if the opponent goes for a fatal blow or a breakaway, this will destroy the armor and actually relaunch the opponent. Now, of course, here's the issue, and a lot of Scorpion fans knew this right away. Before the game was even available, or at least the update, they knew this was not going to be fast enough to save your teleport. And it's not. Like, there's no way you're getting that in time. Now, thankfully, a human does not break away that quickly. So let's go ahead and set it to late and see if we can get him then. Yes, we can. So there it's actually possible. You can, in theory, interrupt the opponent's breakaway if you see it coming, as long as they're a bit slow. But if you're fighting someone who has mastered breakaway, then you're pretty much never landing this move after a teleport, which I feel like is where a lot of people want it. But hey, what are you gonna do? However, I do believe it's actually possible after the uppercut. Yes, it is. So even though I had the AI break away as soon as possible, you can actually land the Flip Kick in time, which of course means you relaunch the opponent and get a really sick combo going, because this is Scorpion we're talking about. Once again, the Flip Kick is pretty slow as far as an armor breaking move goes, and in fact, I doubt it will ever beat a fatal blow unless you do it pretty early because you expect a fatal blow. Otherwise, 22 frames is a lot slower than most fatal blows. And since this move does relaunch the opponent for a combo, it does not have a crushing blow associated with it, which I think is fair. I mean, you get a combo every single time, and in fact I honestly would have preferred that for most characters if you got a full combo instead of a one-match crushing blow. So even though Flip Kick is a pretty slow armor breaking move, at least it does relaunch the opponent and lead to some pretty sick combos. And I know you Scorpion players love your combos, so thankfully this move does complement that playstyle. And this next change also has me scared. In fact, it feels like a personal attack. So Scorpion now has a crushing blow on both of his throws. Now at least the back throw is a regular crushing blow, it's just flat damage at 31%, whereas the forward throw was always a bit unique with the crushing blow behavior. It doesn't do very much damage up front, but it has damage over time, so check out that health bar, and they're just bleeding damage. And I think NetherRealm gave him this new crushing blow for 2 reasons. One, I'm pretty sure you can't actually kill the opponent from damage over time moves of that nature, so that crushing blow did way lower than average damage and also couldn't kill the opponent, whereas most characters, if they landed their crushing blow and you had 30% health left, they just got the kill immediately. So maybe NetherRealm thought that was a bit unfair for Scorpion because he's the only character who couldn't kill you with a crushing blow in that way. And I think reason number 2 was NetherRealm wants the rushdown characters like Sindel, Scorpion, and Liu Kang to all have crushing blows on both throws, especially if their mix-ups are very predictable and easy to read. Scorpion really doesn't have any 50-50s. He has an overhead, but it just knocks you down. So after that, all you have to do is worry about this low, and if you don't see that kick, then you know there's no overhead coming, so you can just keep crouch blocking. So Scorpion's regular strings really aren't that hard to defend against. You can pretty much block low all day and just wait for that overhead. But now that Scorpion has a back throw that also crushing blows, he just has one more way to open up your defense. And keep in mind, even though he has 2 different crushing blows, he still only gets to have 1 per match when it comes to his throws. So you don't have to to worry about him landing 2 different throw crushing blows in the same match. That's still not possible. And next up, Death Spin also had a buff, this move that I hate so much, mostly because it's very tough to punish on block. So this move had its hitbox adjusted, so I think that pretty much means that, in theory, it's pretty hard for the follow-ups to actually miss. Let me go ahead and tell the enemy to not break away. So in situations like this, pretty much every hit lands. I find that sometimes the last hit will not land, but only if you do the string a bit too early. Otherwise, pretty much every hit is guaranteed to land most of the time, especially in the corner. So for example, right here I have Devora, just so she's a bit lower. And as you can see, pretty much every hit lands. Once again, if you're a bit too early, that last hit might miss, but pretty much every hit of this thing is now guaranteed, especially on an airborne opponent. And this also goes for the amplified version, but I found the amplified version actually isn't guaranteed to hit all the time. Like in some situations, the amplified actually does miss, but for the most part it's still consistent as well. But just be warned, when I was testing it, the amplified did sometimes miss after a long combo in the corner, whereas the regular version did not. And this change might not seem like a big deal at first, but don't forget about Burning Spear, because that turns this move into just a monster. The Death Spin does so much more damage when you have this buff active. And that's the main reason this hitbox change is such a big deal. You get that much more damage now off of Death Spin because the hits are that much more likely to land. And this next change actually has me the most excited. So Burning Spear, when you amplify, now does more damage, 50 instead of 30, and its reaction on hit is also different, so look at that, +6. At first I thought, ooh, can you combo after? But no, there's no such thing as a move that's 6 frames, at least not for Scorpion. But even so, don't underestimate what a big deal this is for Scorpion, because boom, you're now +6. Check that out. So you can restand the opponent and you're at +6. Now unfortunately, pretty much nothing leaves Scorpion close enough to cancel into this aside from 1-1. That's the only string that leaves him close enough, but what that means is just do your spear, amplify it, spend a bar, and boom, you're now at +6. And +6 is the magic number for Scorpion because his forward 3 is 13 frames on startup. And since pretty much every character in the game only has a fastest move of 7 frames, they have to respect this as long as your timing is correct. And I think we all know from fighting Scorpion, this is by far one of his most annoying moves. He can do it over and over again, and then you're scared of the overhead, so you stand block and he throws you. All that scary stuff. If you block the first hit and then you're mashing trying to escape the throw, he gets this crushing blow. So it's just a very, very scary move, and now you have to deal with it every time he ends his combo with this amplified Burning Spear. Because he's +6 and you pretty much can't do anything if his timing's correct. And once again, this only gets scarier in the corner because it restands the opponent. So before, you had to actually use the spear to bring them close and then spin the bar and then amplify, and that spent 2 bars. Not anymore. Now if you have the opponent cornered and they're launched for whatever reason, you can just end the combo with amplified Burning Spear and you've restood them, so no wake up options, no escape, and you're also at +6. And since the opponent's back is against the wall, you actually have an even dirtier option, which is the throw. You're at +6 and there's no pushback because the wall is right there, so you're at the perfect distance for this throw, and if they press any buttons, they're going to get caught, which means they either have to break the throw or they can try and neutral duck. But if they go for that option, use your forward 3 more because that's a mid and you're still at +6, so they have to deal with it. So in the corner, the mind games get that much scarier. And don't forget, the forward throw also does more damage during Burning Spear, so since you've activated it, you now get a throw that does 17% damage instead of 14. And more frightening still, the crushing blow also does more damage as a result. Not a ton more, but you do get more damage for landing the crushing blow during Burning Spear. Look at that. But we're still not done because Variation 3 got some buffs as well. So now the amplified versions do more damage. The low option does 80, whereas it used to do 60, and the overhead version now does 100, whereas before it did 80, which means if you land the overhead twice, that's pretty much a combo, 20% damage. And I've discussed in past videos how disgusting this mix-up is. Look at it. It's literally impossible to know which one he's going to do on reaction. You're lying to me if you tell me you can react to this. Now it does cost a bar, but even so, I can pick between the overhead or the low, and you have to guess which one's coming. And they do a little bit more damage than the regular version. Before, they were pretty much just a visual mix-up, and that's it. And I think NetherRealm realized that was a bit silly because you already can't react to 13 frames or even like 19 frames. That's pretty tough for the human eye to react to, especially online when you have delay. so you had no reason to actually amplify unless it did more damage, which now it does, so you actually do have a reason to go for this mix-up. And for me personally, I've only fought a couple of people who were brave enough to try this variation because it really is death by 1,000 paper cuts. A lot of his more damaging combos are gone, not to mention every time you go for this mix-up, you are risking your own neck, because both of these mix-ups are actually fully punishable on block, so if you guess right, yeah, you get the knockdown and more pressure, but if you guess wrong, the opponent gets a full combo. And that's about it for Scorpion's changes. I feel like most of these were actually a really good idea. Like, I love the restand option, I love that it's plus but not actually a combo. That's very interesting, especially in the corner. I like how this move is going to hit more often just because I think moves should behave as intended, so that's a good change as well. I think his armor break was an okay choice, but not a very good one just because it's quite slow, and once again, if the opponent's fast enough to break away, it doesn't cover pretty much the most common areas where the opponent will escape your combos, such as an amplified teleport, which is Scorpion's go-to combo starter, and now the opponent can still pretty much break away from it. And then of course we have the throw crushing blow, which has me the most upset, but that's just because I don't like how throws work in this game personally. I don't like the 50-50 element. I don't like how because I tried to break it, I now get punished by a crushing blow, and I especially don't like how that crushing blow does more damage than a lot of combos in this game. But please let me know your thoughts on these changes in the comments section down below, and then while you're down there, please leave a like if you enjoyed the video. It really does help my channel out a ton. And finally, why not keep that combo going by subscribing and ringing that bell? That way you never miss a future video. Make sure to come back next time, and as always, stay underdogs.